Hey guys, welcome to my channel Miss Recap. The movie begins with a man named Steve, narrating his story. As a child in the 80s, he yearned for the mines, but children were forbidden from entering the mines. As an adult, he abandoned his dead-end job to finally explore the mines. When he finally gained access to the mines, he stumbled upon the Orb of Dominance. By putting them together, Steve entered the overworld, a place where he was able to build his own home from materials he picked up. He also found an angry wolf called Dennis, which he befriended, and it became his loyal companion. With Dennis by his side, his confidence increased, and together, they built endless masterpieces. Everything was going okay for Steve and his life was really perfect, but one day, Steve comes across a strange ruins. He completes the missing parts of the ruins, and he finds out that he has just opened a portal to a whole different dimension. This place is called the Nether. There was actually no joy or creativity at all in this place. It is the home to the ruthless piglins, led by the wicked sorceress called Malgasa, who previously had aspirations to be a performer, until her dad and the other piglins crushed her dreams, so she became evil. She steals the orb from Steve, and plans to use it to bring an eternal darkness across overworld, since the piglins cannot step into the light. Steve and Dennis stole back the orb. While Steve is captured again, he sent Dennis to run away with the orb to the real world to keep the orb and crystal far away, where the piglins won't be able to find it again. In the present day, Garrett the Garbage Man is a former video game champion who operates a store that sells nostalgic goods, but he is stuck in his glory days and is in danger of being evicted. He goes to a storage auction held by his friend Daryl to try and get an Atari Cosmos console that might help him out financially. Garrett is angry to discover that there's no console in there, but it's just the orb and crystal inside the box, and he has a breakdown in front of the others. Meanwhile, a young girl called Natalie drives her brother Henry to a new town called Chuglass just few months after they lost their mother. Henry isn't happy because according to what he has seen online, the town is really bad, but Natalie tells him that they don't have a choice because rent there is kind of low. Natalie starts a job at the local potato chip factory working on the company's social media, while as for Henry, he rides his bike to his new school. He branched at Garrett's store and admires everything he saw in there, especially a blue shining crystal. Garrett tells Henry that he will soon be starting a mentorship for people who want to win at the game in life, and it's $50 per hour. Henry asks if they usually win in life, and Garrett replies that it's usually the answer he charges money for. Just after that, Henry attends his new school, but firstly, he is told to meet the vice principal. The principal placed a name tag on his chest revealing they are so happy to have him at their school, because he is the first student to enroll here ever since that article came out about the school rankings. Immediately he attends his first class, where the children are asked to draw a banana. Henry draws a banana with a rocket. Two bullies at his side makes fun of him, asking if he's some kind of rocket scientist. Henry tells them he is, and will prove it to them. The next day at school, when Henry tried to demonstrate a jetpack model he created, the two bullies cut a wire, which causes the jetpack to fly out of control, and destroys the local potato company where his sister works. The principal tells Henry that what he did could be ground expulsion, and he needs to call a guardian. Henry calls Garrett the Garbage Man, and asks for a favor of coming to his school to pretend to be his uncle. Garrett agrees when Henry offers to pay him $26. At his store, Henry is confused why his jetpack didn't work, and now he must have probably caused his sister her job. Because of that, he totally gives up on science. He sees the shining blue crystal and the orb at Garrett's store, and wonders what they do. Garrett finds a manual that instructs that never should the orb and the crystal be combined under circumstances for the temptation of riches, since there is danger ahead. Henry puts the orb inside the crystal, and it starts to pull him and Garrett towards the mines. Meanwhile, Natalie calls Dawn, the real estate agent that sold her and Henry their house, and who also runs a mobile petting zoo. Natalie is scared because she has been looking for Henry everywhere but couldn't find him. But after a while, Natalie and Dawn finds Henry and Garrett in the mines, while Dennis is seen watching them from outside. The portal to Overworld opens, and a force comes out from it and drags them inside. Malgasa and the piglins are alerted of the orb's return, which gives Steve an opportunity to escape their clutches and leave the Nether. The four are surprised by how beautiful the overworld looks, and as they prepare to go back home, everywhere suddenly turned dark. Out of nowhere, sinister skeletons with arrows and zombies shows up out of nowhere and started attacking them. Henry discovers how to build an overworld, and makes a fortress for him and the others to get to higher ground. Steve shows up and helps fight the monsters, but in the chaos, Garrett accidentally gets the earth crystal destroyed, leaving them without a way to get home. The morning comes back, and the rest of the monsters burn up in the sun. Steve tells them that with the crystal destroyed, there is no way they're getting home. But he gives them one solution, which is, they can actually replace the earth crystal, but they need to find the woodland mansion to do so, and the journey there will be perilous. Steve leads the four on their quest, and tells them what Overworld has to offer. He takes them to the village and shows them the inhabitants that live there, and how easy it is to create things there. After a while, the piglins shows up and they are being led by General Chungus, and this gives the crew no choice but to fight back and defend themselves. They are outnumbered, and as they run, Steve, Garrett, and Henry get separated from Natalie and Dawn. The guys were successful able to run away from the piglins, while Natalie and Dawn teams up to battle off villains and end up finding Dennis to lead them back to Steve. Chungus returns to Malgasha and gets executed, so she sends her creation, the Great Hog, to find the heroes. Steve, Garrett, and Henry were successfully able to arrive at the cave, where Garrett attempted to get Steve to show him where the riches of Overworld are. Steve takes him to the diamond mines, but Henry is furious with Garrett, realizing he is the most greedy human he has ever met. The Great Hog sent by Malgasha shows up to kill them, but they manage to run into a mine cart and use creepers, those walking green things, to smack around so they blow up. The three escape just as the Great Hog gets blown up in the explosion. Meanwhile, in the real world, one of the villagers, called Nitwit, gets lost when he steps out of Overworld through the portal. Marlene mistakenly hits him in the road with her car. She apologized but wonders why he looks so different with big head. To make it up to him, she invites him out to dinner. Although he doesn't respond with English, Marlene finds him to be so funny and finds herself falling for Nitwit. Meanwhile, Steve, Garrett, and Henry arrived at the Woodland Mansion. Steve and Garrett cause a distraction by singing a song, so Henry can find the Earth Crystal. He is found by an Enderman, a creepy teleporting creature that tries to make Henry fail by projecting Steve, Garrett, and Natalie saying mean things to him. Meanwhile, Steve and Garrett have to win a duel with a little Frankenstein monster riding a chicken before they can flee. Henry makes use his sword to fight the Enderman, and after it is killed, Henry gets an Ender Pearl, which can teleport the user to wherever they launch it. As they are leaving, the heroes are found by Malgasha and her forces. She gets the orb back while the other piglins attack the heroes. Steve and Henry make it onto a hot air balloon while Garrett stays behind to fight the piglins and is seemingly killed when their supply of TNT blows up the bridge. Steve and Henry are blown away and crashed. Steve and Henry are revived from unconsciousness and realize they were saved by Dawn, Natalie, and Dennis. They cry about Garrett's sacrifice before getting themselves ready to fight back against Malgasha. The sorceress uses the orb to cast darkness across Overworld, allowing the monsters to attack as they please. The group lead an army of iron golems to battle Malgasha and the piglins. Henry tries to make his way up to the top of her tower to get back the orb, but Malgasha sends her powers towards the tower and sends Henry falling. He is saved by Garrett, who is alive and comes riding in on his hot air balloon. Together, the group destroy the tower and took back the orb. The creatures all start to melt and wither away. Malgasha makes two final pitiful attempts at pulling a sneak attack on Steve, until she finally just dies. The portal to the real world has been restored once again. The heroes say goodbye, but Steve decides to stay back since he feels there is nothing the real world has to offer him. Natalie counters that maybe he has things to offer the real world. Steve changes his mind and ends up following them. The movie ends here. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe and turn on notification so you can watch more videos like this.